like to call to order this meeting of the Apple Valley Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee for November the 6th, 2025. At this time, I'd like to invite all those present who are willing and able to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, good evening, everyone. First up tonight is we need an agenda in order to conduct our business meeting, and Kayla has made a copy of that and provided that to all the members. Are there any changes or additions anyone would like to see made in the agenda for tonight? Seeing none, I would look for a motion to approve the agenda for this evening's meeting as printed.
So moved.
A motion by
Second.
Randy and a second by Dave. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have ourselves an agenda for tonight. First thing on this agenda is the audience participation. We set aside some time every meeting for audience or for members to come and speak with us. Are there any persons would like to speak with us tonight? Come to the podium, just state your name and an address, and you have as much time as you need.
I'm Mike Engelhoff, and I live at 15596 Dunbury Way in Apple Valley.
Okay.
Tonight I am here with my neighbors. I got Tammy and Dean with me. They just live on the same street. And we are pickleball players, and we play at Eastview courts there, just south of Eastview High School.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had some new courts being built this summer.
Yep.
And they had 8 already, and we've got 8 new ones. They're not quite ready, but so we've been playing for about 4 years, and over the last couple of years, the numbers have been dwindling, and I think it's because of the parking issue. And I know part of the parking issue is because of the construction of the new courts. The other part of the parking issue is because of there's 22 spots for park people, and the students are parking in those. And the people that are trying to play pickleball are having to park way out just to the north, I guess, of the aquatic center there. And so I think the numbers over the last 2 years have really dwindled. And it's more fun when we have more people showing up and the courts are being used. And I hate to see that, you built 8 new courts for us, that, the 8 courts you had before aren't being used enough. And, I'm here to just see if there's any solution to the parking problem so that it's easier for people to show up and play.
Okay. Eric, do we know how the school is enforcing that parking situation at all, or?
So, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Kayla's going to see if she can get a map up just so that you have a reference point. But so if you recall, and there we go, thanks, Kayla. Yeah, so you don't see the new pickleball courts on there yet because this is old old aerial footage, but you know that they're just to the east of the existing tennis courts. And so that parking lot right there actually is on city property. However, during the school year, so from late August through the beginning of June, there's a lot of high school kids that park in those parking stalls, in that large lot, in the lot in front of the activity center, and then going towards the aquatic center. They park there because there's not enough parking at Eastview High School for them to park, and or they don't want to pay for the parking in the Eastview lot, which the school district charges for a parking permit. To add to that, I think everyone's aware that the school district is building an activity center onto Eastview High School, which is in this general location that Kayla's circling, but it's taking up some of their parking that they had. So they have less parking on site than they had prior to that project taking place. So We get a number of high school kids parking during the school year in the parking lot. When we started the pickleball courts, we did identify 20 to 22 spots on that south side that Kayla's pointing out. I will say that the high school kids are about as good as reading the signs as some of us as adults are about reading signs, and they don't always follow what the signs say. I will also say that it's not necessarily a priority of the police department to monitor the parking stalls and to make sure that the right people are parking there. If the Parks Committee wants some options on what we could or couldn't do to help resolve the issue being brought in front of you, you can certainly provide us with that direction, and we can see what ideas we can come up with, if that helps summarize the situation at all.
Okay.
Can I ask what time of day you're typically running into this problem? Is it consistent during a certain period?
Yeah, we usually show up a little after 8 o'clock, and those spots are all full to students.
8 a.m.?
There's people that start playing, at 7 o'clock during the summer. So,
Do we know what the net reduction of Eastview parking was as part of or what the long-term delta is?
I don't remember what the parking reduction is on the Eastview property. I do know that we I think it was like 50 stalls. We took out roughly 50 stalls just to build the pickleball courts. So we certainly have less parking on site. And then we took away some stalls because of the skate park project as well.
So Eastview has some type of monitoring system person to make sure that the kids that are parking in their lots that have paid for those spots are there, that they've paid and they got their ticket and everything like that. And we are very generous with our property for Eastview. Could they not extend that parking, monitoring system or person over to our lot to make sure that, that the kids that maybe they're not paying for that, but they have a Eastview ticket and they're parking in Eastview spaces.
I mean, how are you going to enforce who's parking there, though? Because people are going to be parking there to play, and then they're not going to pass. I don't know how you
Maybe get a pass in at the activity center. I don't know. But I'm just saying, maybe we use some of Eastview's resources to help with a solution for this.
We can explore options.
Right. Well, right now is not where we come up with a solution.
Yeah, I think, Eric, we should take you up on your offer to come up with
Thanks, Eric.
a few options and come back at a future meeting with some things for us to consider.
We'll get you a golf cart.
Outside of 8 a.m., are there other hot spots or like on the weekends?
Well, I'm sure in the evening it's probably not a problem unless there's, the summer softball or baseball games going on.
That's what I'm
They
thinking.
use those parking, but
Like when those are
Cross.
full, then you're busy, right?
Football.
usually the morning people are usually done playing by 10:30, latest at 11.
So for committee members, just recognize that high school students are getting there at 7:30 in the morning. They got school all day long for the most part, unless they're a PSEO student or something like that. And so they're there until 2:30-ish, I think, is when they kind of all take off. So between 7:30 and 2:30, their car's probably not moving too much once they get on site. And that's really the issue. So on one hand, we've got a public parking lot, right, that anyone can park in. And on the other hand, we've got park users that want to use amenities that, there's parking on site. It's just maybe not as close as what could be or what might be desired. So that's the dilemma that we have.
The only hope in my head is you got a lot of paid parkers coming into the loser lot, and they're going to go back over there when things open back up, and that frees you up some space. I don't know with the total reduction if that's. That's what I see initially, right? At least you could do something to just remind folks to know where it's best to park, but I don't know. Two former high school students, so.
We'll, we'll explore some options and bring something back to the committee over the winter. It won't be December, but we'll explore some options and bring some information back to the committee in the first part of 2026.
That would be great. I think there's got to be a solution that we can work out somehow, so just a matter of figuring out what the best one is, so.
I'd also like to find out what that lot looks like in the early evening when there is sports being played, football, lacrosse, baseball going on. Is that lot being filled up, and are those spots being taken during that time too?
It's going to depend on the day, depend on what activity is going on in the area. You know, I've been through the parking lot at different times of the day, at different times of the evening, different days of the week, and you know, sometimes it's hit or miss, sometimes it's plenty of parking, sometimes there's no parking. If there's a tournament going on, et cetera, et cetera. So lots of variables going on.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
So it was Mike, right?
Yep.
When I've been through there seems to be a big group of people that come, say, early in the morning and
Right.
play until like, say, 9:30 or 10. And then after that,
Yeah, there's nobody there then.
well, and part of that is in the summertime, you know, if it's 90 degrees out and there's no shade, you probably don't want to be playing at 3 o'clock in
Right.
the afternoon. So, so yeah, is that a certain group of people that come every day that do that?
Well, like I say,
Is there a league or?
you know, in the last few years, you know, we were utilizing all 8 of the existing courts.
Right.
And they have a paddle holder where you would put your paddle in to wait for a court to open.
Okay.
And, you know, there'd be 3 or 4 courts, people waiting. And that has, you know, gone away. Now we maybe get 4, 5 courts going on a good day.
Okay.
And like I say, the 8 new courts being built, I mean, it's a shame to see if, you know, if we can't fill up the existing courts, these other ones are, you know.
We definitely have plenty of courts right now. So
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the Rotary pickleball tournament that they've had there the last couple of years, but
yeah.
I have a feeling they're gonna be sitting empty, you know.
Yeah.
And the big part of it is the parking, and I'd like to see people start coming back, and more people, the more fun,
Right.
so.
Well, we'll certainly see if we can't find a solution and
Yeah.
that can work for everybody. And I think there's got to be something we can come up with. So
All right, thank you.
appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Anyone else care to speak with us? Hi.
Luke, I live at 13647 Holyoke Lane. That's adjacent to Sunset Park on Alameda Boulevard. I feel as if I'm in the Shark Tank. Well, just so get you a little lighter here so I can relax.
We're very
You're-
We feel like we're in the Shark Tank, actually.
I understand. Usually it's the people on that side that are kind of.
We're very
We're not
friendly.
giving you money.
So I take that you're all volunteers, correct? I know my audience. And over here we have
City staff.
people I did not expect to be here. I have 5, 6 handouts and a proposal that I'd like to propose to you, that I'd like to get you to get behind, to take to the city council, or maybe it just has to go this far, I'm not sure. But while you're looking at this, I'd like to explain a little bit about myself that will help you understand my proposal.
I will pass them along for you. Just give me these and we'll pass them along.
How about if we share?
Craig, this man might have everything you want.
Let's share.
So anyways, 28 years ago, I moved into the city of Apple Valley. And behind my house is a 20-foot easement that goes to Sunset Park that was used for a walking trail. Needless to say, it was left vacant. I found cinder block, logs. Oh, there was tons of debris in there. And so I called the city and talked to the city, Parks Department, and they said, well, how can we help you? And I said, if I clean all this stuff up and put it on the edge of the cul-de-sac, will you come and pick it up? And they said, well, of course. And yeah, I was great. And I said, well, what can we do with this property? Are you going to mow it? And they said, no, we're just going to leave it. And at that time, they told me I could do as I pleased with that property. I could not own it. So going forward, I volunteer in a lot of different areas, and I am a master recycler for Dakota County. And they have a person that's in charge of the Dakota County recycling program and all the volunteers. They have a website that is managed by a volunteer so that you know what you can volunteer in what areas and when to do it and how you can get out there. A lot of people are very involved. So beginning of this year, I retired. Gave me a lot more time on my hands to volunteer. You like to volunteer. Does anyone volunteer over there? This is an opportunity for you after you hear what I have to say. I joined Apple Valley Eco Advocates. And boy, I learned about solar panels, data centers. And I was real curious. I was going to city council meetings and I was learning. And I found that, oh, there's some weed pulling and gardening in there, and so I wanted to learn some more. So I saw there was a class in Dakota County for wildflower planting, native garden wildflowers, and for lake erosion. I'm not going to have all the details and special words. So I took the class, and I took a second class on how to plant. And they said, it's not likely you'll be able to do this on city property. I said, well, I'll see. Because I thought, well, they said I could do it that property that I wanted behind my house. So rather than just jumping into it and doing as I pleased, I went to the Parks and Maintenance building and wanted to talk to maintenance parks manager, and the lovely woman at the desk said, oh, we have a naturalist. And this lovely person came out and spoke to me and asked me what I was interested in. And I said I wanted to plant a wildflower garden in the park. And she said, give me a minute. And she got her laptop and took me into the next room, and she started pulling up maps of the park, the Sunset Park. And she said, well, where exactly are you talking about? And we looked at boundary lines and different utilities that went through there. And she said, tell you what, let's have an on-site meeting. So she said, well, we'll see where this goes. So we set up a date, and she came out in the rain and the cold in the spring. And we looked at where I was talking about, and there was a sewer easement there. And she said, well, anything you do here might get tore up if there were repairs that need to be done. But she said, but let's see where we could do this. So we started walking over towards the, there's a sewer drain runoff with filtration for Alamagnet. And we're walking through there looking back and forth. And we agreed that over by the playset, there was an area that could be cleared that I could do a wildflower planting. And at that point, I got the Apple Valley Eco Advocates together and said, oh, look what we're going to be able to do. But she told me, this summer we're very busy and I'm not going to be able to do anything with you. So I just stayed quiet till fall. And she called me. It's very respectful. She's very interested in what we're interested in. And we had an agreed plot. I had gone over there on my own and cleaned out some stumps and prepped it. And she said, well, I can get you some wildflower plugs. And they had some leftover ones from another project. And we set up a date and got this wildflower planting done. But what is more important is I walked around the neighborhood and looked at people that had gardens. I mean, the people that were gardeners. And I said, let's get involved with the park. Come over and help us plant wildflowers. And we actually got about 10 people. This is one park. And I was thinking, well, why can't we do this in all the Apple Valley? And then I learned that Dakota County collects seeds from wildflowers, and they actually plant them in cones and make plugs. And I went, well, why can't we do that too as volunteers? And so I see a lot of opportunity. It's going to take community education to get involvement. Buckthorn pulling. Yeah, I was out there for a couple hours last weekend. They wanted to do more, so we said, well, this weekend we're going to do it. I bet you we're going to be out there for 4 to 6 hours, probably in below 40-degree weather, cutting buckthorn out that's 15 feet tall, going up against Alamagnet Lake. And as I look around, I'm going, there's a lot of buckthorn. The thing is we want to put time into it and get rid of it. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people too, and there's a lot of people in the community that don't even identify that it's growing in their own yard. My concern is that I'm going to go off in the park and start doing things that aren't going to coordinate with your plans. And if I'd have some direction on where to put my efforts, we'd be getting a lot done. I mean, the cost is right. I don't have a high budget. I don't have any slides to show. It's just who I am. Have you had any thoughts about a coordinator for the public? The militia?
So the city of Apple Valley partners with a few other communities for a volunteer coordinator. And so our staff works with, her name is Diane Erickson, and she helps coordinate people that are interested in becoming volunteers, and or when staff has projects where we could use volunteers, she helps recruit volunteers. We obviously, the person you were referring to is Samantha Berger. She's our natural resource manager. She works with a lot of volunteer groups, as does Steve Rother, our park superintendent, on different volunteer type projects. Last Saturday, as an example, we had an Eagle Scout project at Hayes Park. The Eagle Scout planted over 500 natural plugs in a stormwater basin that we constructed as a part of the Hayes Improvement Project. The weekend before that, the Eco Advocate, or maybe it was 2 weekends before that, a group of the Eco Advocates were there pulling weeds out of the existing infiltration basins that are there. So we work with a variety of volunteers. Sometimes they're neighborhood volunteers and they have a specific interest within a park. Sometimes we work with an Eagle Scout that's trying to accomplish a project, and it might be anywhere within the city. Sometimes we work with students from the environmental school over at the zoo on projects they have to do. So we work with a variety of volunteers to try to accomplish projects.
You said this was Diane Erickson?
Diane Erickson is the name of the staff person, a paid staff person that helps coordinate volunteer efforts on behalf of the city of Apple Valley, Inver Grove Heights, and there's one other city, and it's just the name of it's escaping me right now.
Does she do any public education?
Does she do any public in what regard? In what realm?
Invasive species?
No, she only coordinates the volunteers. She does not talk about natural resources. She might coordinate volunteers for elections. She might coordinate volunteers for some filing project the city has. She might coordinate volunteers for a garbage pickup or something like that. A variety of volunteer projects that she would coordinate, but she does not specifically get involved in the project. She just helps organize and recruit the volunteers.
Without education, you don't get volunteers. And that's why we're out there as master recyclers at every event we can be at to educate the public about composting.
And we certainly appreciate the work that all of the volunteers do across the city of Apple Valley, and since we're talking Parks and Recreation, specifically in the Park and Recreation system. So
I'm talking of engaging a city here. I'm not talking about having a few volunteers. I'm talking about any park you live by. Take ownership.
Well,
Do what you can.
Yeah, we also have an Adopt a Park program that we coordinate through our department. And so different groups, neighborhoods, associations, Cub Scout groups, Girl Scout groups, et cetera, adopt parks in our park system. And I want to say that all of our parks have been adopted by a group. And there's a set of guidelines for the Adopt a Park program that people are supposed to go out and, help clean up the park a couple different times during the year. And then if that group has got a little bit of energy and they want to do another project, we'll certainly work with them to help them accomplish that project.
Yes.
And that is something too that I'll say, like I've asked when Sam's come to present the Alabagnet plan to us, and as we've talked about other projects in the parks, that I want to highlight volunteer opportunities to get people involved, because I'm very much aligned that learning and education and getting involved is important.
Yes.
So I would say it's something that at least I personally am paying attention to as a member of the committee, and will continue to do so to try and.
I see there's an extensive amount of work to be done, and I feel as if there's not enough parks workers to get it done. I expressed this at the proposal meeting they had down at Sunset Park in the spring, as we looked around at the trees with dead branches, children. And as I brought that up, they did come in the summer and clear out all that dead area, which was great. But I told them the people that are mowing the lawn for the park should be able to see those things. It doesn't need to be pointed out by the city, the public. We feel as if we're not involved. Yeah, we see stuff and call you. That isn't involvement. It's education. We need to educate people on how to take care of parks. That's all I have.
Okay,
Thanks, Patrick.
thank you. All right, I assume that takes care of everyone that wanted to speak with us tonight, so we will be moving on. The first agenda item is approve department fee schedule for 2025, all
We
divisions.
need to approve the minutes.
Huh?
Number 4.
That's right, we should do it in numerical order, shouldn't we?
That's why they use numbers.
That's why we have a secretary on my
Thank you,
right-hand
Romans.
side.
Thank you, Romans.
All right. Approval of the August 2025 minutes. Has everyone received a copy and had a chance to look at those minutes? And are there any changes that anyone sees that should be made? Hearing none, I would look for a motion to approve the minutes from the August 2025 minutes as printed.
Make a motion to approve the August 2025 minutes.
Second.
A motion from Craig and a second by Noel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Now we will go on to approve the department fees schedule for 2026.
Chair, members of the committee, you have the proposed fees as a part of your packet for all of the different divisions within Parks and Recreation, which includes the community center, recreation, athletics, the golf course, ice arena, etc., the aquatic center, Redwood, etc. The fees in some cases have been increased based on market, based on increasing costs, based on improvements we made at certain facilities, and some are staying the same, again, based on market and what we feel is a reasonable fee to charge for whatever the program or service might be. So if you have any questions or concerns about any of the fees, please let us know. Otherwise, this will be put on the City Council's agenda for their review and approval on the November 25th agenda.
Any discussion or any questions?
One question that I had that we didn't, that I didn't mention during the informal is when Redwood Pool reopens, is the plan going to be that the season pass for Splash Valley continues to only be usable at Splash Valley, or would you be able to use that at Redwood? I'm thinking Redwood's much closer to my house, and when the inclusive playground opens, I'm sure my daughter will enjoy going there. And if we go there, she's probably gonna want to go to the pool as well. Given that the Splash Valley entry fee is higher than Redwood, it would make sense to me that there'd be some sort of ability to pay for the main pass and use that at either place. But I don't know if that's been discussed or if there are reasons we would or would not consider that.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, at this time, the plan is that the season pass at Splash Valley is good only for Splash Valley. We do not have a proposed season pass for Redwood. We do have 10 punch pass, daily admission, etc. But the pass for Splash Valley would be exclusive to Splash Valley.
Is there a specific reason we would keep that exclusive, or is that just not something that we've looked into?
Well, they're two separate facilities that have different operating structures. At a minimum, I would suggest that we get at least a year under our belts with the new Redwood, and possibly it's something that we can think about for the future.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be good to consider, but I'm fully on board with getting the pool open and seeing how it goes, first. But
And the fees are reflected. I mean, the 10 admission card for a resident is proposed as 62 for Redwood. And what is it, 98 for the big pool, aquatic center?
Yeah, but Redwood's only open for like 4 hours a day.
well, right. And my thought is, if you're paying, it may require adjustment or change. But my thought is, if I'm paying more for the larger pool, anyways, like I'm not trying to pay for the 10 punch pass at Redwood and use that at Splash Valley. It's the opposite, right? I'm trying to pay the higher fee, but still be able to use what's essentially the closer neighborhood.
Got it.
Without having to buy a separate pass
I was looking
to
at it
both
the other way.
places. Yeah, no, I wouldn't expect that you could buy a pass to Redwood and use that at Splash Valley. I'm thinking if I, buy the bigger pass, is there a way to make that usable at either location?
Yeah, I agree with Eric, though. Let's get numbers.
Yeah.
Attendance
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, maybe we can revisit it in a year. I
Yeah.
think that would be probably a good idea.
Maybe there's a super pass next year that's rolled out. South to Burnsville.
All right. Next up is to approve the 2026 meeting schedule. Has everyone had a chance to
We
look
need
at
to-
that?
We need to approve this.
Need to
for
approve that.
presentation to the council.
Huh?
We need to approve this schedule for presentation to the council.
I think so.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee. So you had a conversation about the fees, but you didn't take a motion, a second, and vote on the fees.
Fees.
I make a motion that we approve the fees and recommend that they be presented to the council.
All right, I have a motion
Second.
from Dave, and I have a second from Craig. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the help. We will now, however, move on to approving the 2026 meeting schedule. Everyone has had a look at that, I assume.
Actually, I haven't. I printed out my packet, and I don't have.
And we have a-
Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Mr. Chair, members of the committee. So just a reminder, by city ordinance, the committee's only required to meet 5 months out of the year: January, March, May, September, and November. For the last couple years, we've made it a practice to establish a meeting for every month of the year. And the reason we've suggested that is because of the referendum. We've had a lot to talk about and a lot of things for the committee to provide feedback and recommendations on. It's easier for us to cancel a meeting that's been scheduled than it is to schedule a meeting that add a meeting that hasn't been previously scheduled. So we're recommending that we, again, for 26, have a meeting scheduled for every month of the year with the understanding that if we don't have any agenda items, we'll just cancel it. And that's just easier to do than creating a meeting that wasn't planned.
Yeah, I think it's important that we have monthly meetings. I mean, when we had 5 meetings before, it left too much time in between. I mean, we would go from June till September with no meeting, and so I think this is a good schedule.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting schedule presented to the committee.
All right, I have a motion from Dave.
Second.
A second from Jess. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? And that passes unanimously. All right, if I have my numbers right, I think we're on number 6, and that is committee staff discussion items.
Again, committee members, obviously most of you participated in the tour that we had earlier this evening of the Hayes Athletic Complex. And we invited some community members, athletic people, to go on that tour with us. I think everyone was pleasantly surprised and of the project and what it's going to bring to the community. Earlier at the informal, we did a overview and we kind of did a recap of where all the different projects are at and what we're planning for in 2026. Other than that, we, as staff, we'd stand and answer any questions that committee members may have.
Any questions from anyone?
Did not, but I thought it looked great, and I was very impressed by the lighting.
I was very pleasantly surprised by the lighting. I was concerned how that would play out, but when the lights were on, and it was phenomenal. So
It's pretty slick.
Good to see the turnout.
It'll look even better when we get grass.
that's true.
And people.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, number 7 is input from committee members on the next agenda. Any committee members have any input on anything we would like to have taken a look at? This is our time to do what we should be doing.
I think it's the only one I'd like to comment on the update on the joint powers agreement. I know we've had a lot of discussions on that, and wondering if we could at least get just a list of the 3 or 5 or 4 joint powers agreements that exist. Not at this point, I know there's a few in progress, but if we could at least get just a list of, is it 3, is it 5, is it whatever, in which the parks have a say in some type of JPA.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, in December, we'll provide an update with regards to JPAs. We have a meeting with the school district next Friday in regards to the Eastview Johnny Cake JPA. I don't know that we'll be done with it per se, but we'll be able to give you an update on that and the other ones that we have in place. Just honestly, just haven't had time to, dig into it and be able to put together a report, but we will in December.
Yeah, and I don't think it needs to be a report, just
No,
List.
we'll report on it. It won't be great detail, but it'll give you a broad overview as you requested. What are they about, and where do they stand?
great.
I would love it if somebody would reach out to the disc golfers and, as promised, get some volunteers from them or remind them that they offered volunteer.
Will do.
Thanks.
And then just the only thing that I'd say is, I'm sure you've got it down, but just the parking issue that we discussed earlier should be added, but that'd be the only other thing I'd have currently.
That and Park Facility Fund will add to the list of things that we need to keep in the forefront of our minds.
Mr. Chairman, I've been interested in the Youth Athletic Association conversation. I think it's less about the relationships, because as evidence tonight, you got great relationships with your groups. I think as we become more sophisticated in the way we manage our evolving space, and that being fairly new space that we want to protect, I think it's important to understand how we're working together with our customers or those that access our space to make sure that fields are rotated and our ecosystem's protected. And I think there's been some other great things that have happened. You'll see an AED machine from, one athletic association that's not in Apple Valley or at Eastview, but it's just there. So I think there's been just a lot of cool stuff that's gone on through those relationships, and I don't know if that brings more clarity to that bullet, but it's I like to see, and I think the public likes to see how relationships are working together to make sure that we're protecting our assets and we're taking care of things. I don't know if that helps, but that's my.
So do we need to do anything more on that?
I think just I haven't seen. It's Nick, right? I don't think was Nick there tonight.
Nick was not there tonight. He's on a little hunting trip.
Yeah, so good for him. But I don't know. We didn't see him at the annual, so I think that's why that's sticking around. I'd love to see Nick sometime in the next year and to see how he's doing.
So we can take that off of the list, or
I'd say keep it on. I think it's unless you guys object, leave it on.
what do we need to do? What?
I'm happy to come back at the next meeting with some more thoughts, but I think, I would love to hear from and encourage our association leaderships to join us here
Okay.
and to, whether we ask them to or not, share their experiences, or
Okay.
are we as a city doing what we can to support those institutions, and, go back and forth. Are they doing
Okay.
what we're asking them to do as well?
Oh, great. I'm just trying to get these cleaned up, and so, and then volunteer opportunities, was that you, Craig, that had that on there? And
Yeah.
here tonight, or?
I think I would like it to remain as a future item, at least, so it stays kind of on the forefront. I think that as work takes place in Alamagnet, there's going to be more opportunities, as we discussed, for people to volunteer clearing, planting, getting involved in those sort of things. So I think it would be premature to take that off at this point, given that those projects are yet to really kind of get moving forward, but they will be soon. So, but yeah, I think that obviously we've talked about the importance of creating and having these opportunities and broadcasting that we have these opportunities. I think that that's an ongoing thing, but I think especially as the restoration work in Alamagnet gets going, I think that that's kind of a really nice opportunity to try and get some people involved. And so, yeah.
And I think that ties in with what Patrick was suggesting here to
Yep.
the committee as well. So.
How would you feel about, on the agenda, we have a space for hot volunteer items of the month?
I mean,
'Cause it's going to change every month.
yeah, I think if there's, yeah, I think that that's fine. I think that would certainly be helpful. The only thing is I hesitate to add yet another thing to our staff's workload at this moment, but we've got a lot of things going, but I think that would be great if that's something that we could do, that we could highlight volunteer opportunities.
Sounds like we have a volunteer coordinating person.
Well, yeah, if we can highlight opportunities as part of our discussions in the formal meetings, I think that would even help get ahead of that by raising awareness ahead of time. So that'd be fine by me. I don't know if we're able to do that or when we'd be able to start that, but that would be wonderful.
Any other items that anyone would like to see? Future agenda? Nothing? We're good?
Motion to. Are we making a motion to close?
Not until I ask
Sure.
her.
Oh, you asked for it? Oh, now you're asking for it.
Well, looking at the clock, we are at that time where if a particular member would like to make a particular motion, I might be able to accommodate that. So
Make a motion.
anyone care to make a motion for adjournment? I'll spell it
So
out.
moved.
We have a motion
You're
from
hilarious.
Randy. And who seconded?
I'll second.
Noel. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Didn't think so. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.